Bob Ross, a very productive painter in the 80s and 90s, not only taught art lovers about a specific style of painting, but also shared lessons on kindness and compassion with his audience. His calm attitude, soothing voice and teachings have brought comfort to people that still resonates today. Despite everything, there is a hidden truth about the life of this famous man. At 52, Bob Ross finally confessed what we all thought before he passed away. Before he became well known, Robert Bob Norman Ross was born on October 29, 1942, in Daytona Beach, Florida, to parents Jack and Ollie Ross. His parents were pretty typical, with his dad as a carpenter and his mom as a waitress. From a young age it was clear that Ross naturally showed kindness to animals. As a child, he frequently rescued herd animals such as squirrels, armadillos, snakes, and even alligators, taking care of them until they got better. In his later years, some of these animals even showed up while he was filming his show. For those who may not know, Ross had a half-brother named Jim. However, Ross didn't go into detail about him and only mentioned him briefly. For a while, Ross worked with his father as a carpenter after he left school. This is where he was injured and lost a small part of his left index finger. Fortunately, this did not stop Ross from doing his daily activities, and he was able to perform regular tasks, including holding a pallet correctly in his later years at work. When Ross turned 18, he answered the call to serve and joined the U.S. Air Force. He started as a medical records technician, and eventually became the first sergeant of the Eielson Air Force Base Clinic in Alaska. This region is known for its stunning views that show the true beauty of nature, which is still seen today. This was the first time Ross encountered mountains and snow, which became common topics in his painting sessions. But before all this, there was an unexpected meeting that changed Bob Ross's life completely. He stumbled upon Bill Alexander's TV show, The Magic of Oil Painting, while working part-time as a bartender. Through Alexander's show, Ross learned about alla prima, a painting style from the 16th century that we now call wet on wet. Because the paint isn't completely dry before adding a new layer, the painter can work on the canvas more quickly, finishing in less time. In Alexander's demonstration, he finished the painting in 30 minutes, which inspired Ross. It should be noted that during this time, Ross was exhausted not just from his job, but also from being a single father to his son Steve. This is why painting has become a safe place for him and a strong passion. Years later, Ross said that watching Alexander finish the painting so quickly back then almost made him angry. What took the older man days to accomplish, he could now do in just a few minutes. It seems that luck was with Ross because he found out that Alexander was holding a teaching seminar just an hour away from where he was. He viewed this as a chance to improve his painting skills and get a job as Alexander's apprentice. By the end of the seminar, Ross had transformed into a different person. His love for painting turned into an obsession, but sadly, he was moved to Eielson Air Force Base in Fairbanks, Alaska. The aspiring iconic painter learned the wet-on-wet technique in depth, so it was no surprise when he was able to master it. He used the method to paint Alaskan scenery on gold mining pans. It became very popular, and sold well over time. Eventually, his earnings from selling paintings became higher than his military pay. Ross retired from military service at 39 years old, holding the rank of Master Sergeant. As mentioned before, Bob Ross was known for his soothing voice. This is ironic, because during his time in the military, he had to act tough and strict to train his soldiers. Despite the challenges for both sides, Ross found solace in painting, which he began doing during his daily breaks at work. Regarding his tough guy image, Ross promised never to shout again after he left the military. Ross's interest in painting turned into a true passion when he took an art class at the Anchorage USO Club. Unexpectedly, he found himself not agreeing with his painting teachers, as they were more focused on abstract art. As we all know, Ross prefers landscape paintings, which become the main theme in his later works. As a result, he continued using Alexander's method, and got better at his own skill. Now that he is retired, Ross went back to Florida, where he looked at more of Alexander's paintings. Soon he became a traveling salesman and tutor for Alexander Magic Art Supplies Company. Everything went well for some time, especially because Alexander was searching for more art teachers to help share his teachings and his great selection of art supplies. It also had some special tools, like Alexander's large brushes, a palette knife he specifically designed, and magic white, which is a base paint used as the foundation for all Bill Alexander paintings. Ross left his son with his second wife, so he could work as a salesman for Alexander in Salem, Oregon. He made an agreement with his wife to give him a year to work on this project. If it didn't succeed, he would return home. This job helped Ross build relationships with his customers, and one of them, Annette Kowalski, was a major reason why Ross became the well-known figure he is today. Annette Kowalski and her husband Walt were feeling deep sadness over the loss of their 25-year-old son, who died in a car crash. For many days, Annette felt empty and lost. In contrast, Walt was very devoted to his wife. As fate would have it, she began to feel something again when she noticed Bill Alexander, who encouraged her that there is more to life, and that the world is full of wonder. Noticing this positive change, Walt contacted Alexander's company to check for any workshops in the area. The closest one was 1,000 miles away. The couple drove a long way so Anne could go to one of Bob Ross's sessions in Clearwater, Florida. By now, all signs of Ross's time in the military were gone from his face. He had a bob haircut, and the relaxed attitude of a hippie, who just enjoyed painting. Before their disagreement, Bob Ross saw the older man as his hero and acknowledged his contributions. He even dedicated his second instructional book to Bill, writing, "In an age when it's said that there are no heroes, I feel most fortunate to have been inspired and influenced by a giant in the field of art, Bill Alexander. He has been my guide and friend, and has played a big role in all that I have achieved." But like all good things, even their relationship, which started from a shared love for nature and painting, changed when Bob Ross Inc. was formed. The idea for Ross's separate company started with the Kowalskis, who asked him if he was willing to teach a few classes in D.C. Of course, Ross was eager for the job since more work means more money. The Kowalskis agreed to pay him for his work, and to let him stay in their extra room at home for free. Sure, the couple also took care of the art materials and other tools. Right from the start, Annette liked Bob, and during one of their sessions, she told him he could start his own career. She and her husband Walt also helped Ross and his wife with money, so he could start his own business. Despite their skills and connections, Bob Ross Inc. faced many challenges in the early years after it was founded. It's also important for you viewers to know that the tension between the two painters has not happened yet. In fact, Alexander was kind enough to help increase Ross's influence. The older painter helped by letting Ross film with him for a while. It was common to see Alexander and Ross together on screen. They made a promo, where Alexander is seen passing the brush. This was viewed as friendly teasing, and a joke between them, handing over the powerful brush to a powerful man. Their relationship started to go bad when Ross and Annette Kowalski were contacted by WIPB, the local PBS station, while they were leading a workshop in Indiana. Ross quickly took the chance, and even though Alexander's show was the most popular at the station, it was outshined by the success of Ross's own show, The Joy of Painting. His relatable style, and stronger presence than Alexander's on camera, helped the show quickly become popular. It was quickly picked up by various stations, and Ross soon became one of the most popular figures on TV. As unfortunate as it was, this is the exact reason why the two painters had a disagreement. Few people know how this uplifting and inspiring show came to be from difficult situations. If this doesn't seem sad to you, just wait until you find out what happened to Bob Ross Inc. later. In a 1991 interview with the New York Times, Bill Alexander talked about how Ross let him down. He said he created the wet-on-wet technique, but Ross believed he could do it better. Bob Ross Inc. did well because Ross started recording his art class in 1982 at a station in Falls Church, Virginia. By then 60 PBS stations had agreed to show the program. Bob Ross created all his paintings for free, and earned money from his how-to books, art supplies and videotapes, considering all the work he has done under his name. The Joy of Painting aired from January 1983 to May 1994, but it still has reruns today, on channels like Create and on the streaming service Hulu. Bob Ross Inc. started small and grew into a $1.15 million business that offered classes in his style and technique, with instructors certified by Ross. It's estimated that Ross created about 30,000 paintings during his life, but his artwork is quite rare to find on the market. This is because most of it is managed by Bob Ross Inc., which is owned by the Kowalskis. Due to his private personality, people were surprised to learn about Bob Ross's unexpected death on July 4, 1995, from complications related to lymphoma. Before this, the respected painter also faced several health problems, mainly caused by his habit of chain smoking. He was just 52, and already had 7 paintings ready for what would be the 32nd season of The Joy of Painting. Today, Bob Ross's image and style are closely linked to painting and nature, and he is often connected with a positive vibe. His image has become a big part of pop culture, inspiring TV shows, movies, characters and more. In October 2015, the popular streaming platform Twitch held a 9-day marathon, showing back-to-back episodes of The Joy of Painting, to celebrate what would have been the painter's 73rd birthday. The event was very successful, so Twitch chose to air the show again every Monday. A part of the money made from the stream will be donated to different charities. The next year, streaming giant Netflix included Bob Ross's series, Beauty is Everywhere, in their platform. This brought in new fans, and sparked renewed interest in the life and works of the painter. The Kowalskis noticed this growth and joined the trend. They achieved success with their project by creating a YouTube channel focused on Bob Ross, which gained 1 million subscribers in just 1 year. It's almost impossible for them to overlook this chance, and not take advantage of it, since they are the only ones managing Ross's image. The Kowalskis became the only owners of the company, after Ross and his wife passed away. The company's terms state that if any partner dies, their shares will be split equally among the remaining partners. The Kowalskis lived longer than Ross and his second wife, which helped them because they have always been focused on business from the beginning. In later years, they even strongly opposed members of Ross's family, who were said to be trying to transfer the famous painter's rights to them before he died. Ross avoided conflicts, and focused on his family. Instead, he removed the Kowalskis from his will, and gave the rights to his name, image, and property to his son, Steve, and his half-brother Jim. What started as a calming show that offered comfort, turned into a harsh struggle for rights, and the Kowalskis were not backing down. They argued that everything Bob Ross did while at the company was work done for hire. In the end, the decision supported the Kowalskis, and they won the case. It was one problem after another, but luckily, things started to go better for the rest of the Ross family. When the Kowalski couple retired, their daughter Joan took over the business, and made many changes. Unlike her strict parents, she became more open about the company, and even allowed others to help sell their products outside of their main business activities. Additionally, she managed a settlement with Steve Ross and Jimmy Cox, Bob Ross's half-brother, allowing them to use the Ross name and image without any issues. This move also let Steve Ross start painting and continue his art career, which he had to pause because he was afraid of being sued. Even though Bob Ross is an icon, he is one of the few famous people who kept much of his life private. What we know about his personal life is that he got married 3 times, and has 2 children. His first child was with someone he dated when he was younger. His first marriage to Vivian Ridge produced a son, Robert Stephen Steve Ross, who became a painter like his father. Ross's marriage to Ridge eventually ended in divorce, but his bond with his son remained strong. Steve Ross appeared on The Joy of Painting a few times, and later became a Ross-certified instructor, continuing his father's legacy. Young Steve showed up in the last episode of the first season of The Joy of Painting, where he read the viewers' how-to questions for Ross. The older Ross took some time to respond to their question as well as he could, while also working on the canvas until he finished it. Ross got married for the second time, and the same year he divorced Ridge. His second marriage was to a woman named Jane, and they did not have any children. Their relationship would have lasted longer if she hadn't died of cancer in 1995. Ross married Linda Brown in 1995, which was his third and last marriage, just 2 months before he died. There isn't much information about Bob Ross's personal life. We only have a few interviews that give us a glimpse of what he was like as a person, as seen in Bob Ross, the Happy Painter. Besides that, most things are kept secret, because they are part of Bob Ross Inc., which protects his privacy and intellectual property from being public. Many people are curious about what kind of religion Bob Ross followed. Sadly, it's something we might never fully understand, because he was very private. What we do know is that he clearly stated his belief in a creator God, who is responsible for everything we see around us. Additionally, he ended his show by saying God bless to his viewers. Ross continued to care for animals by taking in injured ones, and some of them even appeared briefly in his show Joy of Painting. When the COVID-19 pandemic started, the BBC broadcasted episodes of The Joy of Painting again, letting viewers appreciate the art and lessons of Bob Ross from their own homes.